Hinkle modernity, yeah. I feel like the people who don't like Jackson are the people who don't understand the internet and internet culture and meme culture and how many people are actually influenced by that. Because, a lot of people would dismiss it as just internet stuff. But it's more than that, people are legitimately influenced by the memes that they see on Instagram or on Twitter. As, maybe silly as that sounds, it's the reality. We're all products of our environment and our material conditions, and what we consume on social media is part of that. And Jackson sort of knows how to hijack that and inject communist politics into it. He's very good at that. He's better than anyone I know. And this is something that I've been doing on TikTok for years. It's something I've taught Carlos to do on TikTok, X, Instagram, and YouTube, through, years of practice and sharing what I've learned with him. It's something that I taught classes on, how to basically hijack the TikTok algorithm to infuse communist politics into people's brains and get them to join a, revolutionary pro-working class party like the ACP. So it's something that's useful, and I've seen how useful it is because we've gotten a lot of really hardworking and really productive cadre, a lot of party members in the party through social media, through Jackson's, even like his meme posting and stuff. So a lot of people look at that and they say, this is unserious. This is highly unserious, this Hinkle. But he should instead be publishing books. And they ignore all of the books and all of the theoretical journals that we actually do publish as a party, like Red America. But they see the meme posting and the algorithm hijacking is unserious. And it's like, I'm sorry, I hate to break this to you, but not that many people read books nowadays. People's attention spans are shortened. People, the majority of people, at least in younger generations, get their news through social media. They don't get it through reading Washington Post or CNN. One sec. I gotta put my iPad on Do Not Disturb. By the way, this is the last stream that I'll be doing for my iPad. The very last stream. We made enough moolah from you guys and from Patreon and all those things for me to get a laptop. So I'm still gonna build. I'm having one of my wrestlers who I coach build me a desktop computer, but I am also gonna get a gaming laptop, which will really be a streaming laptop. So this is the last stream where I'll be limited. But what was I talking about? Yeah, most people our age get their news and understand the world around them and geopolitics through social media. So it's any modern political party that's not utilizing social media is just shooting themselves in the foot. You have all these Marxists and even a lot of older Marxists who are intelligent when it comes to theory and whatnot, saying, social media doesn't matter. Some of them say, we need to go to people's workplaces. We need to go to the steel workers and the mine workers. We can't be on TikTok. And it's like, well, a lot of the steel workers and the mine workers and the railroad workers are on TikTok. They scroll through TikTok during their breaks. It's a very useful tool to reach people. Now, it means nothing if you don't translate that into real life, if you don't translate that into the actual organizing of workplaces, but it's a tool to create that and push that forward. And I mean, during the Arab Spring in the Middle East and North Africa, the U.S. basically used the internet to unite and forge together terrorist groups who could then overthrow the Syrian and Libyan governments. The internet and social media were a massive tool for sowing unrest. The NED, the National Endowment for Democracy, which is just a private version of the CIA, is incredibly involved online, probably smearing groups like the ACP, but also using bot accounts and using, giant accounts that they've either bought from people or hijacked or whatever, like Kings and Generals, a YouTube history channel that we reviewed once here on Midwestern Marks, which you can check out. they use those to push regime change propaganda in target countries and here in the US to both get US citizens to support our government overthrowing a foreign government, but also to get people in the target country to turn against their own government. And this is why communist countries like Cuba and China are forced to control the internet, or the DPRK. This is why they're forced to have the so-called Great Firewall in China, because they know that the US is using the internet as a tool to foment regime change. So, if we know that the ruling class is using the internet as a tool, why would we ourselves shoot ourselves in the foot and say, no, we're not going to use the internet as a tool? We're just going to publish books that nobody reads because we're purists who refuse to acknowledge that technology evolves and forms of communication evolve over time. It would be silly. And a lot of people just hate Jackson because of his success in these areas. Like Gabriel Rockhill, his only evidence that Jackson is supposedly a Fed is that Jackson has a lot of social media followers, right? And as somebody who is, of a younger generation than Gabriel, for one, but two, have studied social media algorithms and how to use these algorithms to grow and have put it into practice by growing 7 TikTok accounts over 100,000 followers, I recognize that it's not, that's not a sign that Jackson's a Fed. He just knows how to do it. He's extremely prolific, right? He puts out a large quantity of high quality content. He puts out stuff that, yes, is engagement bait, but he knows how to use social media as a tool to spread his message. He's very good at it. He's got skills in this area. And a lot of older Marxists like Gabriel Rockhill, who don't understand those skills on any level, say, oh, this means he must be a Fed. And what is this other than, rejecting success? Saying, oh, if any Marxist is successful in popularizing our message and our core values, then they must be a Fed. If any Marxist learns how to utilize social media algorithms to push a pro-working class politics, they must be a federal agent. Okay, well then anybody who succeeds, you're going to automatically dismiss as a Fed. And how the hell are we supposed to win in this country? How the hell are we supposed to convince people to be on our side if we ostracize and push out of the left anybody who's actually successful in reaching a large audience? I mean, it's quite ridiculous. And if you watch Noah's show from Monday, his call-in show, he debated a lot of people on Jackson. In particular, he debated one of the ACP's full-time most deranged haters named Lulu. Well, sorry, I don't want to say that because Lulu's actually not the most deranged. Lulu seems like she's actually somewhat good faith, and like she's actually bought into a lot of the smears and lies about the ACP. But Noah was just dismantling these smears about Jackson one by one so easily because they're so weak. They're all rooted in, oh, he's successful. He knows other successful people. He must be a federal agent, even though he's pushing the exact opposite politics of what the feds want. And now there's these smears about what Jackson's doing in Yemen. You had independent journalists like Richard Medhurst. So disappointing to see this from him because I like Richard. But you had big alt media journalists like him and, of course, Fiorella Isabel and others coming out and saying, Jackson's a Fed. Jackson is giving away Yemeni Houthi military positions to the U.S. so the U.S. can bomb them with zero evidence, making these heinous, disgusting allegations with zero evidence. And the worst, most disgusting, sick, fucking genocidal, psychopathic Zionists on the internet, like Dr. Eli David, picked up this narrative by Jackson and started pushing it. Started pushing it as a joke, but also as a way to smear Jackson, who's one of their number one enemies because he's anti-Zionist. They started saying, thank you, Jackson, our friend. Jackson is a Mossad agent. He's giving away Houthi positions. Thank you, Jackson. And it's a joke for them because they actually hate Jackson. But as the leftists who are pushing the same narrative as disgusting Hitlerite fucks like Dr. Eli David, you should stop for a second and think, holy shit, I'm pushing the same narrative as one of the most disgusting genocidal Zionists on the planet. Somebody who cheers on and celebrates the mass murder of children openly on his Twitter page. I'm aligning with that guy. That guy's pushing the same narrative that I am. I'm teaming up with Dr. Eli David to smear one of the largest voices who's pushing a pro-Palestine line, who's pushing a line in favor of the Arab resistance. Like, come on. If my politics were ever lining up with Dr. Eli David and these genocidal Jewish supremacist Zionist, Hitlerites, essentially, I would do some deep self-reflection at that point. But that's what Lenin told us about these people. This is exactly what Vladimir Lenin said about the Social Democrats and about the wreckers who spent all this time bitching about the Bolsheviks over, petty things. He said that, these people are objectively right-wing. They objectively align themselves with reactionary forces like Zionism.